Now to our CNN chief international anchor, Christian Amanpour, who is here with us. Christian, I just wonder your big picture thoughts as you've been watching this day play out.
Big picture thoughts are this is the day for real joy that those hostages are back and that eventually all the remains of those who did not survive will come back, and also that the killing has stopped in Gaza as well. This is a ceasefire. Today is the day to really mark the ceasefire and to surge aid into Gaza and to make sure the hostages are taken care of, their physical and mental health at the hospitals as well. This is a day that all those Israelis and members of the families have been waiting for a long, long time. And it's a day, obviously, that the civilians in Gaza have been waiting for. They are returning with some hope, only to find a complete and utter devastation. And what I've been told is that even the bits that we have seen by virtue of iPhones and maybe some drone stuff over the last 2 years do not paint the full picture of the utter, almost total extinction of Gaza. So I think this is really important. But most important for me today was listening to what President Trump said in the Knesset, where he said to the Israeli people, to the Israeli politicians, to Netanyahu, with our help, you have done everything that you could do on the battlefield. With our arms, you have essentially won the war. And now it is time to translate that, as he called it, victory, into a permanent peace. And Caitlin, that is going to be the most difficult part, because even on this day, Prime Minister Netanyahu has decided he will not take up the invitation of President Sisi to go to Sharm el-Sheikh to deal and talk with all those other international leaders, including President Trump, to discuss the day after, which is not just a day after for a Palestinian state, but it's a day after for the eventual security of Israel itself. Everybody knows that Israel can only be secure for the future and not suffer any more of these October 7th horrors if there is a political solution. And that was what was meant to be starting, is meant to be starting in Sharm el-Sheikh. So many are saying that's a seriously missed opportunity, and we don't know why he decided to, and we hope that he's not playing politics on a day like this and trying to satisfy his very, very far right. So also we're going to really see whether President Trump doubles down and capitalizes on the incredible success of his negotiating team, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and his own moving off the sidelines and putting all the weight of his presidency and the leverage that only the United States can carry with Israel and frankly around the world to come to this day. Because if it's only a ceasefire, and it's not the peace plan that President Trump has been talking about, then, we could be really, watching some horrible recurrence in the future, or at least endless conflict and not a peace for the people who so desperately need it. I think big picture also, it was pretty incredible, Netanyahu's highly politicized speech in the Knesset, talking about how Trump had given them jurisdiction over the Golan, over, as he called it, Judea and Samaria, otherwise known as the occupied West Bank. All of that territorial domination that he was talking about before he ever talked. This is the Prime Minister of Israel, before he ever mentioned the hostages. And I think that'll go down pretty badly amongst the Israeli people, who have been incredibly upset by the fact that their prime minister, they believe, has put off this day. Big picture, this could have happened at least a year or so ago, or even in January when President Trump first came into office. Yeah. So many hostages could have had their lives saved, so many in Gaza could have been spared, and some political resolution could have happened. So now the burden is on the leaders of all parties, including the Palestinians, to make sure this is not a 2 years that's wasted in just blood and guts and tears, that it's not 2 years of struggle in vain.
Yeah, and Christian, as we're watching President Trump board Air Force One hours later than he was scheduled to depart here in Israel to go to Egypt for that summit, one part of that speech that you just reminded me of was when President Trump was basically referencing public opinion of Israel and how it had changed as this war had gone on. And the president was saying, that the world is a big place, that eventually the world wins. I mean, he was essentially arguing there about what public opinion was shaping up to be in regards to Israel when he was saying to take the win. And you think of, we've seen people going back into Gaza. Reporters have been restricted from going into Gaza largely. Obviously, there have been many Palestinian journalists who were there reporting throughout this war. But that's another big question here is when other people will be able to, other reporters will be able to get a full look at the damage inside of Gaza.
Well, Caitlin, you can imagine that's a question that I'm asking every day, and surely all of my colleagues. It is unconscionable that we have not been able to go in and help our Gaza colleagues tell the full story to the world. That is just something that I've never seen any democratic nation forbid outside journalists, and I've asked every Israeli official who I've interacted with over the last 2 years, publicly and privately, to open the doors and let us in. And I pretty much can assure you that once those doors are opened, it will be a scene of absolute abject horror. And I think for sure, people who start to talk to the hostages who've only just been released will find that it will take a long, long time for them to recover physically, but also mentally. It's been a terrible, terrible 2 years for them, because not only are they there, they're probably being treated better than the average Gazan, because they are the pawns and the chips that Hamas had. Now Hamas has given up all its leverage, by the way, by giving them all up. So that is a victory for the Israeli side. But they will have had so much horror and terror as well, because they were also in the war zone. Many of them underground, we understand, from those who we've spoken to in the past. We'll hear more details. But that'll be incredibly difficult, and everything that they will have so much more at their disposal in Israel, a proper world country that has all the medical and mental health facilities and all the rest of it. They will be able to help their people. In Gaza, the medical facilities are destroyed. I mean, the idea that there's any mental health facilities that can help 2 million people is just a farce. There isn't, obviously. And they need to start eating to be able to survive, start drinking clean water, start being able to treat their families. The follow-on medical and mental health issues are going to be long and very, very difficult. And in the big picture again, if there's not a political resolution, and every Israeli military, intelligence, security official who I have ever talked to, including former prime ministers, have said our existential threat as the state of Israel is not to be able to resolve this conflict. It's not the Abraham Accords. Those aren't peace deals. Those are normalization accords, and they're great. It's great, it's fantastic, but they do not address the problem at hand, and the problem that, unless it's solved, will not bring peace to this region. So it's phenomenal to see today, and it's going to be super important to see what comes out of Sharm el-Sheikh and beyond.
Yeah. Absolutely. Christian Amanpour, so great to have your insights here. Jeremy Diamond earlier for your reporting as well. Our special live coverage of this historic day that is playing out in the Middle East will continue right after a quick break.